Hey, I'm Dan, and today I'm going to show you how Insights in Bowimi works. So, on this Insights page, you'll see you have three main tabs: Activity, Dashboards, and Widget Library. So, on the Activity tab, you can see a real time activity feed into every bit of data that your team is capturing. And you can filter it by orders, contacts, tasks, survey responses, tag activity, and pipeline activity to see exactly what you want to see. And you can also filter it by user to break it down further. So now moving on to your dashboards, you can see you can have an unlimited number of dashboards and they're fully customizable with widgets from your widget library. So here is an example dashboard called Dan's dashboard. You can see 6 widgets on it. One of them is orders, one of them is surveys by type by day, one of them is a pipeline widget, another one is tagged locations by type. And then these two over here are connected to data capture surveys to pull real-time insights out of the data capture surveys that your team are doing in real time. So we have percentage of the time we spoke to the manager, and also a count of how many samples we're giving out. So if I was to go then into my widget library to see the widgets which make up these dashboards, I can see that we have stock widgets down here at the bottom. So these stock widgets are widgets that you can duplicate if you wanted to edit it and customize a data source or customize any other properties. And we also have all of the widgets which you've made up at the top, which you can edit, duplicate, and delete. And every single widget has a preview as well. So you can see a preview of what would be showing on your dashboard. So if I go to create a widget now, I can create a widget from this button here in the bottom right corner. And the anatomy of the widget is name and description. So you give it a name and an optional description. We have a data source. So this is connected to every type of activity that happens in Bowimi. So that's tag activity, generally tags, order items, survey answers, choices, survey answers, numbers, and also survey responses. We have the option to put the data over a time series. So you could look how the data changes over time. You have filters so that you can refine your widgets to show you the exact data you want to see, filtered by user or filtered by geography or anything else that we offer. We have columns, which is how this data is grouped together and ordered. And then you get to choose the type of chart you would like to see your data on. So that could be bar charts, stacked bar charts, clustered bar charts, line graphs, lists, multiple values, pie charts, or single value. And once you've created a widget, you'll be able to see a preview down at the bottom to be able to make those tweaks that are going to make it exactly what you'd like to see in your dashboard. So I'm going to make one example of each data source. So the one that I'm going to start with is this one on the left, location tag activity. So every time someone tags something in Bowimi, it tags a location in Bowimi. Say, for example, if you have a location type tag with pubs, cafes, convenience stores, grocery, and someone was to tag a location with the cafe tag, that creates a location tag activity tied to that person and tied to that location. So if I was to click on location tag activity, and then I was to say I want to apply it over a series. So in this case, I'm going to go, I'm going to pick over a monthly series. So that's going to show me my data month by month. And I have the option to go day by day, week by week, month by month, quarter by quarter, or year by year. So those are all the standard options you'd expect. So in this case, I'm going month by month. I'm going to start at the end of the month, which is going to show me real-time data that's being captured right now and isn't going to stop at the start of the current month that I'm in. I'm going to go back 4 months. So this is going to display 4 months of activity, and the length of each segment is going to be 1 month. So I'm going to click Save, and that's going to apply a series to my widget. And then I can filter by any of these options. So I can apply a date filter, which will show me um, a, a, a result which is limited to a certain date that I can choose. I can apply a location filter. So this might be a geographical filter over a part of the country, for example, or it will be any filters that are on the locations page. And I can apply a tag filter. So I can restrict this to a certain number of tags that I would like to see. And I can filter by a tag activity type, which will say only show me where this tag has been added but not removed. And I can also filter by user. So I can filter by particular people in my team. So in this case, let's filter by a particular tag. So I'm going to say, let's filter by location type and only show these types. And I'm going to click Save, and that's going to apply the tag filter there. Now, when it comes to applying columns, I can choose how I want to organize this data. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to group by tag. So if I go type tag and group by, I can then click Save. And then I need to count by something. So I'm going to count by the number of locations inside those tags. And I'm going to click Save. And then once you've put some of these settings above, it will then show you which chart types are available. So in this case, I can see I can go on stacked bar chart, and this will show me a preview down here of month by month. And this is grouped by tag, and it's counting the number of locations where we've had activity, tag activity. So that's just an example of the tag activity data source. And I can apply thresholds. So this is really useful if you're looking to track KPIs. So I could click add threshold. And in this case, if I add a threshold at say 200, and if I say hi, I go red, you can see that it's applied this line to the graph, and I can apply another threshold, say at 100, and I can say low. I can make that green. And now you'll see that we have low there and high there. So if you were to add this to your dashboard, it would then be really easy to then track those KPIs over time. And you can also change the colors. You pick a different color set if you wanted to pick a different color set. So that's just an example of a location tag activity data source. I'm going to click cancel and then create widget, and then we're going to move on to the next one. So we're going to look at the location tags data source. So this location tags data source is going to allow you to count the number of locations in each tag. So if I wanted to do something similar, so this isn't counting activity in terms of when something was tagged or who tagged it. This is very simply just taking your tags and allowing you to do a very simple analysis on them. So I can do the same sort of thing here, where I'm going to just go for those 3 tags, and then I'm going to again add a column, and I'm going to group by tag again, and then I'm going to count the number of locations in each tag. And again, I can go bar chart, for example, and this will show me just a static number as to we have 142 cafes, 22 convenience stores, and 6 delis, or I can look at it as a pie chart, for example. So that's again using the location tags. Next, we'll move on to orders. So this takes all of the data from your orders which happen through Bowimi. So again, I can plot this over time. So if I was to, in this case, do this again by month, and I'm looking at the last 6 months, starting at the end of this current month. And in this case, I'm going to apply a user filter. And the user filter is going to be to look at the orders done by Dan. So I'm going to see it's applied that user filter there. And then I'm going to add a column, and this column is going to be not for users, I'll do it by product. So it's going to group it by product. And then I'm going to count the number of locations. And then I'm going to go for a line graph, for example. And I can see the number of locations each month, which have ordered each product. So that's grouped by product. If I was to go stacked bar chart, this is how many locations have ordered each product in each month. So that's using orders. I can then edit any of these columns. So I can go into this one and I can go by distributor instead. So this will now show me grouped by distributor, in this case, Matthew Clark and direct, Nectar and direct, how many locations have placed orders in each month. And if I don't want to count locations, but if I want to, say, for example, count item total, and if I go for a sum of item total, this will give me the total value grouped by each particular distributor. So that's a quick example of how you can use orders to get good insights. And now we're going to go back and create another widget. And these ones I'm going to do now are going to connect to actual data capture, sort of in surveys. And if I go for survey answers choice, I will untick use latest. So use latest, if you record 2 surveys at the same location, it will only record the value in these insights of the latest one. So if you wanted to take an average of whether a product was available, you would have to untick use latest. But if you wanted to get a snapshot as to whether that product is currently available, you would tick use latest. So in this case, I'm going to untick use latest, so that it's going to take all of the survey data captured at that location. And I can, say, for example, plot this over time. So I'm going to, in this case, not plot it over time. I can apply a filter to it. So I will, in this case, have to filter it by a particular question. So the question that I'm going to go for is in my pub visit survey. And I'm going to filter this by did you speak to the manager? And I'm very quickly going to add columns for each answer. So it's going to be yes or a no in this case. And I'm going to count the number of locations inside each of those answers. And if I look at a bar chart, I'll be able to see a bar chart that there have been 29 locations where we've recorded yes, and 4 locations where we've recorded no. So if I was to apply a time series on that, I can apply a time series and say month by month over the past 3 months. start at the end of the current month. And then I'm going to go for a stacked bar chart, and I can see how that's changed over time. So I can see in December it was 7 yes, 2 no's. And I can see this month we've had just 7 yeses and 0 no's. So again, I can add thresholds or change the colors as well. And I can also change any of these chart types as well. So I'm going to, as well, in the next example, I'm going to use the location filters. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to go to the locations page, and I'm going to zoom in on, let's say, the Southwest, Bath, Bristol area. And I'm going to use this middle locations crop, and I'm going to hover over Southwest so I can see I'm just looking at these locations here now. And then I can apply any other filters I would like to apply to this, or I can just go and create a widget with just that location filter. So I can actually create a widget from this locations page by clicking on Actions and Create Widget. So what that's done is it's saved that location filter there. And then I'm going to go on Survey Answers Numerics, and I'm going to untick Use Latest so that it uses all of the data captured across all of the locations. And I am going to, in this case, add a column of answer, and I'm going to go on sum. So it's going to count the answer because this is a numerics question, and I need to filter by the specific question that I'm interested in, which is how many samples did we give out in the sampling activity survey. So I can add further columns to that. So in this column, I've got the sum, which I'm going to call total. And I might also want to have answer and average, perhaps. So average. And also, I'm going to count the number of locations where we've done the sampling activity. So count unique number of locations, and I'm going to click multiple values. So what that's done is it's created a widget where it shows me the total number of samples that have been given out and recorded, which is 340, an average of 113.33 across those 3 locations, which you can see here. So this is really useful if you counting anything. So you might be counting the number of cans given out at sampling activations or trade shows, or you might be counting the number of facings you have in a supermarket, or counting really anything that you're interested in tracking over time. And I'm going to click cancel on this one and then move on to the final data source. So I'm going to go on to Insights, Widget Library, Create New, and the final data source that we have is Surveys. So this is actually one of the most used data sources. And I'm going to apply a series of activity date. And this time I'm going to go day by day, start at the end of today, and I'm going to go back 10 days. And I'm going to apply a filter. And the filter in this case that I'm going to apply is actually, I won't apply a filter in this case because I just want to see all of the survey responses. I'm going to go columns, and I'm going to go locations. And actually, instead of locations, I'm going to go survey response, and then I'm going to go count unique. And I'm also going to group by type of survey because in this case, I'm the only user, so grouping by user isn't going to show me anything useful. So if I go stacked bar chart, I can see last 10 days. These are all of the surveys that I've done. And I can see, on the 17th of February, I did 4 pub visits, 1 grocery visit. The next day, I did 2 pub visits. And today, I've done 3 sampling visits and 1 pub visit. So that's grouping by the type of survey. It's showing it over 10 days and it's counting the number of responses. I can obviously, instead of counting the number of responses, I can count the number of locations, which in this case will be the same number. It won't be the same number if you've done multiple surveys at the same locations. And I can change this grouping by survey to be grouping by user, for example. And then it will just say that Dan has done 5 that day, Dan has done 2 that day, and Dan has done 3 that day. So really easy to switch between different types of grouping. So that is all of the insight data sources shown. That's how you can create widgets, create dashboards, and build a really great insights dashboard for your business, which is going to give you and your team everything that you're interested in seeing at a glance and allow you to keep track of all of the activity you're interested in inside your business. Obviously, I can do this for you as well. So if you're a Bowimi customer, I will build these dashboards for you free of charge, but this is just for people who are interested in how it all works. Thanks for watching. Bye.